make our own Floyd flowers back in the day. And we'd go to the aquarium store, buy the colored gravel, the pea gravel, to pour in the terrariums too. But we never had this beautiful glass. We just had the cheap bubble balls, right? And but very well done. And, you know, we have a wonderful selection of miniature succulents, whether you buy a mixed bag or individual pieces, and you can do something like this. And I think it would sell. I think people would like it. It's almost an architectural piece for the home, the office, especially for a man if you're looking for something and you got something a little bit different, or for that woman who's a fussy, cleany, doesn't like little knick-knacky things. A nice, clean, smooth vase like that, I think she would like a gift like that. And this one's kind of neat. It almost looks like it's underwater, right? This seaweed just kind of curling up from the lake floor. And then if you look at it, I don't know if you can see it as well, through the glass, you can easily view that. And you have so two different looks to it, right? It looks like, on the one hand, just something sitting in a pond of clear water. And then on the other hand, it's a beautiful garden inside the glass. Can you catch that okay? Yeah. Always got to worry about the videos, right? Because that's important. Later on, you know, we're going to post these videos. So if you're sitting back and you're thinking about something to do, you're looking for a project, you can always reference the video and say, oh yeah, that's right, that was something a little different, I like that. It's a nice container. I believe so. Yeah. Probably either Accent Decor or UCI. Several glass companies, UCI. Yeah. Well, and a great have to, right? David hadn't been in a while. He'd been off. He had some personal things going on, and he came in, and I wasn't there during the first day he was here making arrangements, right? So I go around the black, and you know, the building's so big, you just don't see each other all the time. So I'd gone in, and I saw he had done this whole setup already to get it ready. And so I walked through the back of the warehouse, and I kind of run into him. He's standing with Tim and somebody else, I think it was Bob. And I walked over to him, I said, Tim, you did tell David I want no orange for this show, right? I think orange is a bad color. And David just kind of looked like a deer in the headlights. And then of course I started to laugh. We all caught up pretty quick. But isn't that a great color? When you're looking at something to brighten up the shop, something different, to give your customers a new look, orange is really a great neutral color. It goes with all the citrus colors with no problem. It goes with all the earth tones with no problem. So orange is pretty much a neutral color nowadays. Gorgeous base here. Isn't that great texture? Nice finish, couple of different shades. Beautiful peach blossoms. I think that is gorgeous. And really, it's a transition color, right? From the right-hand side of here, you go from yellow and orange all the way over to more of an burnt orange, red. And then we have a peach or coral with the orange. So you can mix them together. The other day at the show, I was, because we did some fresh and artificial, I brought 3 different types of roses in. And I showed where you can go from the soft, peachy Oceana to the deeper Amsterdam. And then there was a new one that was called, was it Nature's Cherry, Kim? Like Nature's Cherry. It almost looked like a cherry brandy with that two-tone, but a dark, dark coral. And then you can just take one more leaf if you really want to push it and go right to the red, and then mix all 4 of those shades together. Start at the one extreme and then bring them all the way over to another look. So starting down here, David's used a little bit of the heliconia with the monkey tail. You know, honestly, fresh monkey tail is very expensive. It's flown in from Hawaii. The artificial is really the best way to go. And this one has a little bit of a fuzzy texture to it, but we did have the natural smooth burgundy. And I like something like this. I like this small vase. It is from Accent Decor. If you're doing a small garden party and you want people to have something to take home afterwards, what a great idea to have a few of these vases on each table, and then somebody can take something home afterwards. a zinnia with some succulents broken off, but different shades, you know, going from that, not shade, but a texture of that flat finish on the orange container, that bright green succulent, and then the orange red of the dahlia as well. Nice color. You know, you have 3 different ones, small ones, but much different in look, right? We have a couple that are a little more tropical, one that's just more springy, which would go with this one that has the cone flower, more of a summer type of a look. This one here with those orange daylilies we see all over the place. This is a very natural summertime, or drop it into a more tropical look with something with the Phalaenopsis sprays, natural Phalaenopsis foliage, or market foliage that we have. Really well done. And then David finished it on with a beautiful one, a larger piece, using the coral colored lilies. And they're actually, they're not just silk, but they're actually that foam type of artificial permanent tangle. So it really picks you up a fresh look to it. The closer you get, the more you can see it. It looks almost like a real lily. And then that peach branch, that's gorgeous. I don't know, he must have had some Christmas on his mind, or he had some Christmas sitting around, because here's a little bit of pine, but it's fun, isn't it? It works. It's just another texture. And he's used a little bit of that ivy again, just to give it another color tone to the arrangement as well. Perfect. Just love that face, isn't that beautiful? And when you see something like that, you know, when Jim Nordlie was coming in more regularly, about 10 years ago, and he would say, you know, any vase you buy should be big enough to hold flowers. Because if it can't hold flowers, it's not for us, you know, because that's not our industry, right? And we would bring in these bottleneck vases, and he would just, I'd be in his office every time. What did you buy that for? What are you going to put into it? And look at all David got into it. He got a lot of flowers in there, didn't he? He got a beautiful Casablanca lily. He got the yellow ranunculus, that beautiful blossom vine, that's it, right? It just really worked. And I love the color and the design on this one. To me, it almost is a little bit of a retro with that 70s mod look. I think we used to see that color and that shape. Very different. And then, David is very much a visionary. Isn't it a great piece? Really soft, really different. And we combine it with that ceramic for 2 totally different textures in one in a container. I just think that's great. And of course, the beautiful simplicity of white tulips, a little bit of reindeer moss and some succulents tucked in into a basket, but it's yet a basket with those gorgeous colors to pick up with this one. So if somebody's coming in, we have 2 different customer styles. We have something that works for them. And then we leap a little bit. We go from that, I call it a sea mist or sea foam color, over to the greens again. This is another accent decor base. It has that almost like a handle, right? A little bit of a different shape to it, not just the traditional egg shape. And that's one nice thing with accent decor. It really does give us and you a great selection of different types of containers, whether it's that mercury glass look, or a finished ceramic look, or a little bit more Art Deco kind of a look to ceramic, not so perfect. And David just used a little bit of the viburnum and some of the ivy with that. And he was giving it just a totally different look. Because many of us have this situation, right? Maybe you have a lot of red roses or pink roses and artificial. Maybe you have a lot of viburnum. Well, we have viburnum that looks this way, very contemporary, bright yellow container. And here, David's toned it down using some apples and some darker succulents and that metal container to give it more of a very eclectic, very natural, outdoorsy look. 2 totally different looks with the same types of flowers. And even some of the same things from one container to the other. You've got the same ivy in this one as in this one. Very well done. And then this, I love this vase. And we also have a big vase, don't we? Similar. That's a big bowl. I'll get to it later. But anyway, some beautiful poppies, some viburnum, Gerber daisies, and some wonderful. This is a really interesting branch. It's an artificial branch, but it has a much different color and texture. It's got a like a mossy green kind of look to it. Very, very different. And I think it pulls it really well together. Could you hold this? So we have this bunched type metal, and it's a heavy aluminum base, right? And then we also have, and this is an accent decor piece as well, this bowl. I love that bowl. And I think the bowl and this bunched base would work really well for rentals for weddings. I think you could easily, place a plastic tray or bowl in the middle of this. And then on this one here, a cylinder would slip right down the middle of that. And you could do your arrangement and then just slide it out and then have that later as well. This one, gorgeous orchids. Orchids are pretty much timeless again. And I think we went through a time, and I was talking in Minneapolis, where orchid or tropicals in general kind of went out of vogue. Maybe they were just we weren't doing enough with them. But orchids and tropicals are making a huge comeback right now. We're getting more and more demands for weddings, and events, and for every day. I think people like the longevity of the tropicals and the orchids, the uniqueness, and then they do work well with other things. The greens, the green cymbidiums, the green dendrobes, they work well with the lemonade or the green tea roses or super green roses. So there's many different options, so you can mix it in well.